I am here. My apologies for being slightly late. My my autopilot is a little bit jank this morning, so I did some things out of order. And apparently, well, ghost clearly isn't the problem, Peter, because it says ghost path still in the title. Twitch won't let you say that you're writing a climax anymore because, geez, I don't know, some stupid reason. So I'm gonna just say that we're writing the climax of a book today as many times as I can. I forgot to, as you can see, I forgot to update the thing. So wait, here we go. Ugh, what a morning. But we're writing a climax today. The climax, the most exciting moment in a book. And you're not allowed to talk about it on Twitch, apparently. So we're gonna talk about it as much as possible, because that only feels fitting. Like, if I say climax enough times, will Twitch just come in and shut me down? Is that how it works? If I talk about the climax of my novel, are the Twitch mods gonna come in bearing swords and be like, you can't be here, you must stop talking about the most exciting moment in your novel, which is known as the climax, because people use it for other things, so clearly it's inappropriate. Sardonisms, thank you so much for subscribing! My tablet is losing the ability to internet, and my phone is busy being an e-reader because I'm almost to the censored climax of the book I'm reading, so I'll be lurking but still appreciate you. Sardonisms, we appreciate you. So happy to have you. Careful about those climaxes. Okay, I'm gonna actually read my chat now. Right here with first. Right, how's it going? Maya's here. Pie is here. It rhymes. Have to hyphenate scumbag when I stream TCG shop. I should have just put asterisk in like where the I is. I wonder if it would have accepted that. We got pie traits. We'll get to those in a moment. Sardonisms is here. Spicy Sin Pie. Hello. I do have a lot of drinking to do. How dare you be later than me? It's been a morning. That's for sure. Apparently I've just been very absent-minded the last few days, because yesterday I explained to Ghost Pepper that I organized the fridge in a certain way because I'm lactose intolerant and he's not. So the cheese drawer is organized with the lactose-free cheese on one side and the lactose-full cheese on the other, but he didn't realize I was doing it that way. So I was like, I do that so I don't, like, if we have cheese of the same, like, because sometimes we have two different cheddars, and I'm like, so that way, like, at a glance, I know not to touch yours. And then apparently last night I was eating chips and dip, and I have my lactose-free chip dip, and instead of putting it in the place that I myself said was the designated place for it, I just threw it in the fridge in just, like, a random spot and just left it there. And so I texted Ghost this morning and I was like, did you do that or did I do that? And he was like, no, you did that. I just didn't touch it. And I was like, that's hilarious. So I feel like I'm just, I feel like I'm just going on autopilot, but like broken autopilot, so I'm not going to the right places and I'm not doing the right things. And I went out and I started my coffee and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't go live yet. I'm doing everything out of order. Dragon Slaver, hello. Just because they can't climax, they don't want anyone else to either. Oh my goodness. It's decided it is universally sexual, I guess. Yeah, that's the thing, is like, That's a problem with putting, like, a word in moderation, is that, like, context matters. And I know that I have made writing the climax of something or other my stream title before. So I don't know, like, I don't know why. I don't know why. But it doesn't really surprise me. Megan doesn't know it yet, but it's her last stream before permaban. Then we gotta write the hell out of this climax. If we're going down, we're climaxing hard. I'm gonna need to be careful about those climaxes clipped for Bruce. Big editing day. Heck yeah, right. Do you have any Megan stories for us? Like, just things that have happened in my life in the last 24 hours? I threw my chip dip just randomly in the fridge. And I woke up this morning and I was like, did I do that? My worry was that I just left it on the counter overnight and that Ghost just threw it in the fridge to get it off the counter. But then he was like, I didn't touch it. So I was like, alright, well, at least my brain got it into the fridge. Got it into the cold before I just completely stopped realizing that I was doing a thing. So, I don't know what that means, Dragon Slaver. But I don't think anything, like, super interesting, hey, Cosmic Voidling, has happened to me in the last 24 hours, aside from me just absent-mindedly forgetting that I've done something, or forgetting to do something. One Discord, we weren't allowed to use the word dongle. We were using it innocently, but then after the warning, like throwing that red rag at a dozen bulls, we went wild with the dongle. Like, I don't know. It feels funny to me that they added a section for reading and writing, but then in the reading and writing section, you're not allowed to say the word climax? Like, in your title? Like, it's part of, like, when you talk about I think it's, like, where the term originally comes from, and when you talk about, like, how you lay out a, oh my god, my brain is just totally farting right now. When you talk about laying out your plot structure, that's the word I'm looking for, structure. When you talk about laying out your plot structure, the climax is always the tip of the, you know, you have your, basically your inverted V, right? So the tip of the mountain is the climax. And the book ends either directly after that, or sometimes you get like a falling action, so you get a little bit more after the peak. But there's always a climax in there somewhere. And you might have, like, midpoints where you raise the stakes, and then your graph goes upward jaggedly, and then you come back down because, you know, the tension eases or the characters solve a problem. But you always end up at that jagged mountain peak at some point in time. And it's never not been called the climax, and every time I do my outline, I mark where the climax is, because you need to know that. You need to know where the moment of greatest tension is in your work. But we can't talk about it on Twitch, guys. Climax writing, not allowed. The climax is always the tip. It is. You should be, like, we're nutting at the end of this story and watch how they don't bat an eyelid. We're not, though! We're not doing anything remotely sexual. There's nothing sexual involved in what's happening. It's so absurd. This is how language gets polluted. Shout out saying the climax is the tip, then realizing where chaos got. Listen, I don't even care how many blurps of me get made today. I want those blurps. I want Twitch to suck it. Blurp that. I want Twitch to suck it, because I should be able to put in the title of my stream that I'm writing the climax of a book. There's nothing sexual about it. I know YouTube has built-in flags for checking certain words, so maybe Twitch has the same thing. I mean, I'm sure they do, and I also know that there are, like, YouTubers who do the same thing I'm doing right now, which is where they say fuck, like, 60 billion times, because they know that as soon as they say the first one, their video is gonna get flagged anyway. So they're just like, whatever, I'll just say fuck. Everybody get some snacks. I've just gone on a large rant. You deserve some snacks. I'm not gonna have a snack. I just ate breakfast, but you guys have a snack. The snacks are for you guys. What I want to do is make it so that when you guys redeem the snacks, it pops up a bunch of, like, images of snacks on the screen, but I don't know how to do that now. I don't know how to do that yet. My breakfast was frosted mini wheats, maple flavor, or I guess they're brown sugar flavor. I got a bunch of pie trays to do. Hang on. Those are from yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's start with 3. A 1. A 2. A 3. I'm drinking a new coffee today. It's from a very local coffee shop called Bright Jenny. It's called Dream State, and it has just a little bit of blood orange in it, and it's really interesting. This is my first time having a cup in our machine, and it's pretty good, actually. It's a little different than what I expected, but pretty good. Peter, you deserve some friendly cheese. Are you trying to kill me? I don't have toes! It's 8 p.m. and I haven't eaten today. Pie, get a snack for you. 2 sausages was what I had. Like, the whole day? Pie deserves some friendly cheese. Just had 2 cups of tea and a snack bar. What type of tea, Dragon Slaver? Just finished breakfast too. Your breakfast was so much better than mine. Soft-boiled eggs and toast. Oh my, I'm jealous. I only eat eggs on the weekend because I don't usually have time to do eggs during the week. No, I don't have a cup in my popcorn machine. I have a coffee machine, Peter. I do not have... I guess I shouldn't say I don't have lactose-free cheese in the house. I do. I have lactose-free mozzarella. Because we made some pizza. Felt like I saw him the other day. All I wanted was 5 dozen eggs in the morning to help you get large. And now that you're grown, you make 6 dozen eggs, so you're roughly the size of a barge. So I'm roughly the size of a barge. I once went for 2 days without food. Pie, no, you have to take care of yourself. You gotta eat something. Ooh, orange pico. Nice. I do like orange. I don't do sweet breakfast very well. Occasionally Belgian waffles with whipped cream. I gotta come to your house for breakfast. So I almost always wind up with eggs of some denomination. Nice! Yeah, we do eggs on the weekend, usually. Usually, I just eat cereal during the week, because breakfast is, like, my really quick meal, so I just kind of need to toss it down my throat and get it done. I do have sushi in the fridge for lunch. Ghost Pepper brought me some yesterday from the store, because he had to stop. We don't like what we don't understand. In fact, it scares us, and this beast does sound like a thing. Yeah. We don't like what we don't understand. In fact, it scares us, and this beast does sound like something I can't remember. I don't remember that song lyric either, but there we go. Don't tempt me with song lyrics. I only eat eat breakfast on days I'm off or days I close. Ah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because it's the same. We have weekend days off here at home, so I do like breakfast though. We sometimes eat breakfast for dinner. We're big breakfast fans, but we don't eat breakfast at breakfast time very often. Once a week usually. Like when I say we don't eat breakfast at breakfast, I mean like we don't have like big breakfast, like nice breakfast. So we do often just set aside a dinner where we're like we're gonna have breakfast for dinner instead. So that happens. I think I have 2 more hydrates. 1, 2. Honestly, you can eat anything at any time of day. That was something that, it's funny, that was something I struggled with a little bit when I first became an adult. But I always used to eat cereal as, like, a snack in the evenings. Even when I was a teenager, like, if I wanted a snack at, like, 10 o'clock at night, I would just have a bowl of cereal because it was quick, it was easy, and it tends to be sweet. Like, most cereals tend to be sweet. Taryn, how's it going? And so I would just be like, I'm just gonna have a bowl of cereal, because it's there. And when I was a teenager, I often didn't eat breakfast at all. Like, when you're a teenager and you have to get yourself up and ready for school, you can sleep an extra half an hour if you don't eat breakfast. So I just started skipping breakfast because I could sleep longer, right? So I would just snack on breakfast cereal in the evenings, and my whole family was like, that's so weird. It's so weird that you eat cereal at 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's perfectly normal. But they're like, no, it's weird. And then into adulthood, too. Like, other adults would be like, you eat cereal at, like, midnight? And I'm like, yeah. It's in my cupboard. And I've met, like, a handful of other people who are like, yeah, midnight cereal. And everyone else is like, that's so bizarre. And I'm like, it's not really. But, like, you can eat anything at any time of day. If you want savory for breakfast, you can have savory for breakfast and sweet for dinner. You can do whatever you want, really. You can eat a whole cake. You shouldn't, but you can. No one can stop you. But it was just funny that for, like, such a portion of my life, everyone was like, it's weird that you eat cereal at night. And I'm just like, no, it's not! I had a Dr. Pepper and Snickers bar at school for breakfast when I was in high school. That sounds like a high school breakfast. I can't explain it, but scientifically, lunch is the best meal of the day. Some of y'all haven't had leftover pizza. Listen, I started, again, teenager, I started eating leftover pizza just cold, straight from the fridge. Because too lazy to heat it up. Because you can't put leftover pizza in the microwave. That's a sin. You have to heat it up in the oven. And as a teenager, I was too lazy. So I just started eating cold pizza. And you know what? It's really good. Pizza that's gone cold, like from the store, is bad. But if you put it in the fridge overnight and take just a cold slice of pizza out and eat it, delicious. Yes, Taryn, have some cereal for lunch. One cereal I remember was called Count Chocula. I remember Count Chocula, and there was a strawberry one too that I can't remember what the name of it was, but there was Count Chocula, and then there was a strawberry one that was the same brand. I can't eat leftover pizza anymore. I can only eat it when it's fresh. If I eat it as leftovers, it makes me feel sick. Oh no! Oh, a psychosomatic response to something that happened a decade ago. Oh no, I'm so sorry. I love leftover pizza. I heat it in the oven now. Like I have a method for heating it in the oven so that it tastes good again. But you know, as a teenager, I was like, just shove it in my mouth. It took me like 4 to 5 years to even be able to eat pizza fresh. Oh no! Do you want to share what happened? You don't have to. No pressure. You can talk about it if you feel like talking about it will be helpful, and if you feel like talking about it won't be helpful, then don't talk about it. I will say, one time, when we, like, first had started living together, We had a bag of peanuts that got shoved into the back of our cupboard and just kind of like, we didn't have like a really good pantry back then. So we had a bag of peanuts that got shoved into the back of our cupboard and we just kind of forgot about it. And one day, Ghost Pepper, this happened like literally 15 years ago. And one day, Ghost Pepper found the bag of peanuts, which we didn't realize, first of all, that peanuts could expire. Those bags of salted peanuts can expire, just so you know. Or that they had been in there for that long. So he opened the bag, he took a handful, and he just ate it. And then instantly he was like, I think those were expired. They taste like sawdust. He was like, don't eat them, they taste like sawdust. So then we looked at it and we were like, oh yeah, these are really expired. Like, they had been in there for a long, long time. Now, he's able to eat salted peanuts now, and it's not a big deal. It didn't end up being a massively traumatic food experience, because they didn't taste, like, super, super gross. They just tasted like sawdust. But it was a moment of our history where he was like, don't eat those. And that was how we learned that bags of salted peanuts can expire. Do you miss pizza? We do eat pizza occasionally. I tend to be really selective about what I order. I used to be able to get goat cheese from a place here in town, which was nice because goat cheese is much more mild on my stomach versus any other type of cheese. And now I can't do that, so I have to be... usually mozzarella's not too bad if I'm careful about when I eat it. But I don't eat pizza very often. And we also make pizza homemade because we have a bread maker that makes pizza dough. So we'll make it homemade and I can use lactose-free cheese on it. It didn't actually affect him that hard. It just tasted gross for a minute. I ignored a lot of signs I needed my gallbladder checked out. Sorry, hang on. And I ignored it until my body said, guess what? No more ignoring this. Unfortunately, I triggered that reheating pizza from the night before. Oh no! I'm so sorry to hear that you had trouble with your gallbladder. My mom had to have her gallbladder removed as well. I actually know quite a few people who have had to have that taken out. And I know someone who's waiting to have hers taken out right now. So that seriously sucks. But I'm glad that you're starting to be able to eat it again. Vale, hello! Hey, it's because you understand what it's like trying to dodge a peanut allergy. Allergy. My mother-in-law is deathly allergic to seafood and shellfish, so every time she comes over, they were coming over one time and I was making chili, and the whole time I was making chili I had to be like, don't put Worcestershire in the chili, because I sometimes put Worcestershire in my chili to give it more depth of flavor, but it has anchovy like sauce in there, so I was like, don't put Worcestershire sauce in, don't put Worcestershire sauce in. And Ghost came in at one point and he's like, did you remember to not put the Worcestershire in? And I was like, yes, I did not put Worcestershire in. I'm not going to kill your mother with the chili. Cater Nader's here too. Heck yeah! Lurking second night in a row. Glad to have you. We are going to get started. I have so many words to write today. Let me know via the channel points for themes if you have a specific activity you want to do, if you have a specific spirit you want to hang out with, if you have a specific background you like to have in the windows. When you choose the activity, you can choose which preset you would like to use. We have, this here is Willow's room, we have Domerin's room, and we have my room as well. So you can pick any of those. And when you pick, you can also choose if you would like to be Whoops, that's not the one I was trying to click on. You can also choose if you want to be me, if you want to be Domarin, or if you want to be Willow. So you have... I am currently hanging out in Willow's room because that happened last night. First vid rendering, heck yeah. Thank you for ruining 39 years of taste. What? The entirety of the maternal side of my family has had to have it removed. It does seem like it's it does seem like if someone in your family, I'm kind of lucky actually that I've not had that problem because my mom did have to have hers out. It does seem like it is, you have like a family, is inclination the right word? Like it increases your risk of needing to have your gallbladder out if you have a family history of it. Taryn, which room? Do you care which room we end up in? We still have Sanic. Alright, I'm gonna save Mad Lad's Hydrate, Mad Lad, hello, for when I get back, because I'm gonna take a quick cheeky break, which means that there's time for the other 2 redeems, if anybody would like to choose our Spirit Companion, or the location that you see out the window right there beside the desk. There are channel points redeems for that. They are limited 3 per stream, but they're not limited per person, so if no one else is redeeming it, and you want to redeem it, just go in there and take it, because otherwise I'm gonna pick one. We'll do 30-minute sessions today, 3 of those per usual, and I'm hoping to do a scene and a half. It's all action scenes, the 3 scenes that I have to write today. So, fingers and toes crossed, because you know me and action scenes. So I, will be right back. unlocking all those spirits. Chapter pillar. Heck yeah. We can do a chapter pillar. Our sweetest sweet boy. I need to decide if I'm gonna show all the things that were in the Mirror of Life trapping the gold dragon broke, or just a few of them. There's 12. Ooh, it might be fun to show some of them and keep some for later. I should say the other 11 things that were in the mirror, one of them is the whole reason the gold dragon broke the mirror to start with. Makes sense. Blur, hello, how's it going? Enjoy. If you have any questions about the game, or if you run into any troubles, let us know. I know Taryn knows about the game. I know Mad Lad knows about the game as well. Lots of players of this game here. Okay. I took off my sweater because I was warm, and now I'm like chilly. So maybe I should put it back on. If I instantly overheat again, I'm gonna get upset. Gonna try something crazy today and write a play. I've had this idea for a play based off of the song and I'm tempted to give it a go. Sounds like fun, Mad Lad. Go for it. Go for it. Alright. I am settled in. I think. Optimal typing posture achieved. I believe I owe Mad Lad a hydrate. I almost said booze for some reason. Why would I say that? They call me Shakespeare 2.0, except I won't be Shakespeare because I'm me. Heck yeah. Mad Lad 1.0. Best thing to hit this stream chat since sliced bread. I think that's how it works, right? Okay. I think we're locked and loaded and ready to go. Am I new chaptering or chapter breaking? New chaptering. Oh man, I always psych myself out before fight scenes. They're like 20% harder to get started than any other scene. Because I'm like, no, I have to write action. Alright, I'm hitting the button. Button hit. What's the, Mad Lad, what's the play gonna be about? king is terrible. His son sees the suffering of the people, overthrows the king, and becomes a bad king himself. Damn. You can probably just share them in the photo section, Blur, or in the writer's discussion area. Either or. I know they're technically not photos, they're screenshots, but you can definitely share them in there. I don't typically use... I don't know why, I have a lot of dice. I don't typically use dice for my action scenes, and I don't really know why. I just think I don't really think about it in the moment. Hate writing first person with alternating POVs, but the story seems to want me to do it anyway. Ooh, I struggle with first person as well. I think first person can be a very powerful perspective, but you have to be really, really careful of passive voice. First person, like, a lot of people think that first person is more immediate, and if you do third person right, it's not necessarily, but the problem with first person is it's really easy to fall into passive statements, which steals that immediacy from it. So as long as you're keeping an eye out for that, I think you'll be fine. I mean, you'll be fine no matter what. I have faith in all of you guys, but that I think is the most challenging thing about writing in first person, is just to make sure your verbs are always the most active versions of those verbs. Ghostly She, hello! Enjoy your lurk! Is it she? Is it Shy? Ghostly Shy? This is clearly somebody that Taryn knows. So I will take advice on how to say name. Oh, it's Shy! Shy Revenge! Aw, you changed your name on me! I get very confused when names change. Y'all should know this. The easiest way to confuse me, change your name, change the color of your name. Tell me to pronounce your name differently. I'm easy to confuse. Taryn, good luck with pickup. Hopefully we'll see you later. Take care. Thank you for hanging out. Ooh. Happened to look over right as the clock changed. Oh boy, haven't quite gotten to the action part of this yet, but I am happy with how it's going. That was 1,667 words. And I'm just about to go into action territory, so I'm pretty pleased with that. Cheers, Blur. I'm gonna do a double. I'm also gonna hit that save button. Save button, indeed. If anybody would like to redeem a activity, a location, or a spirit companion for the next sprint, feel free to do that. The redeems are down below. It's funny because I came in here this morning and I'm like, action scenes. We're gonna be writing action scenes all day, but this scene actually opened with like a really heartfelt exchange, and it's so sweet. And then I'm about to just dump action on top of them. So that's the tone switch is gonna be just interesting. Trash Nuki! Heck yeah! I really like the Trash Nuki's Halloween skin. Oh! I don't know if any of you guys know this. I follow the Lo-Fi Sessions Discord. And they just previewed this morning that they are going to be adding a new activity to the update, and it is going to be painting at the desk. So you're going to be able to paint at the desk now as well, like with actual paints. I know that they've had a big request for more art type, like drawing and that kind of stuff, activities. So it sounds like they're adding at least one. So that's cool. People have asked to be able to do the art in more areas as well. So it'll be interesting. It'd be interesting if you could paint at the fireplace and have like an easel. That would be really cool. They haven't shown that, but you will be able to paint at the desk, which is super cool. So they showed a preview of that. I love that they're always adding stuff to this game. I think they're a relatively small dev team. This was their first full game, but they've just done really great with it. It's super useful, as you can probably tell from the fact that I have 129 levels. So clearly would love an easel at the fireplace in the bay window. Yes, I don't know if they're planning to do that, because I guess it would be a lot harder to add than like what they've done, but that would be super cool. Just got to level 10. Blur, in 1,000 hours, you too will be at level 129. I believe. I have faith. 1,000. In case you guys are wondering how long it takes to get to this level, I have 1,100 hours in this game. And there are people who have like way more levels than this. I go into the discussion sometimes and people are like, yeah, I have like 500 levels. I'm like, okay. But some people do leave the game running just like all the time. I am going to hit the pause button for a second here so I can pop AFK. And when I get back, we will do a nice little stretchy stretch and get ready for our second sprint. So if anybody has anything that they want to do to redeem for the next sprint, now's the time, and I will be right back. have returned. Sardonisms, do you want the game monkey or the toaster monkey? Let's begin the stretching. Goodness gracious. So, haven't quite gotten to the climax of this novel yet. Just about to start the climax. But, it will be a 3-scene long climax. So I expect it to last for some time. The climax. I'm on video 5 of 9. Rai, why do you have 9 videos to do? That sounds like so many. Wardrobe. Spirit companion. Let's do the more... Ooh, let's do the galaxy... Ooh! Let's do the gingerbread one. I was like, let's do the... this one. Gingerbread. Did I miss any other redeems? I don't think so. We also have activity and background if anyone wants to redeem those for the next Sprinty Spront. 70% of the way through this book, which Storygraph tells me is the equivalent of around 2,000 pages. Damn! I didn't know that he takes his cartridge out and blows on it. I've never seen him do that before. That was adorable. Blur, hit the clip button. Hit the clip button and you'll be able to back up and see it if you do it right quick. I saw Blur. I did take a sneaky peek in the Discord at your room. It's beautiful. I love it. There he did it again! I wonder if that's new. I've never seen the ape do that before. I've never seen that before. That's fucking adorable. Man, there's always some new things in this game. I know! I don't usually use the monkey either. I wonder if it's because they added some new animations for him into the kitchen DLC and just gave them to both versions of the monkey. I do know that people have been requesting that they add, like, more animations for the spirits in general. So they have been slowly, like, putting in more activities and stuff for them to do. I thought the monkey just sat there. I didn't realize he was an adorable little doofus. Been putting off editing videos and only doing it when I need a video to upload. I am familiar with that, only blogs. I want spirits to look out the window with me. They all just stare at the camera and it makes me uncomfy. It is one of the #1 requested features that they add, like, more stuff for the spirits to do. 'Cause I think when they initially launched the game, it was just kind of I think it was very bare bones, and they hadn't really maybe sit with us. Ooh, but then he probably won't take out his game cartridge and blow on it if we sip. So I think it was just very bare bones. Like, I think when they initially launched the game, most of the spirits just kind of sat there. So I think as they develop the game more and get more people using it, they've been adding more and more stuff in. Which is why, not like to shell for the company or whatever, but if you do use the game pretty often, it's good to invest in the DLCs and it's good to invest in the backer packs because you get a couple extra visual things and they get more money for development, essentially. Just fiddling with the lighting. Sometimes if you do different activities, like if you do the gaming, they usually look down at like the gaming thing. Or if you do the writing activity, I noticed that for the train DLC, they gave a lot of the new spirits like either reading or writing animations, and they'll look at the books then. But they do mostly just look at the camera, it's true. These chapters are super short compared to my 2K plus normal chapters. Not sure I can do this first person thing. Pie 8! Pie, thank you for letting us know that you took care of yourself. Honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about the length, because once you go through and edit it, you might find that you're able to edit down some of the descriptions. That reminds me, I think I missed a whole bunch of stuff while I was writing. Most of my stuff is third person. I like it that way. Same. I only very occasionally write in first person. I was reading the stuff I missed during the sprint. You might also find, if you're new to writing in first person, once you go back and edit, you might be able to make your writing a little bit more economical in terms of like word economy. So if you're new to first person, you're probably using a lot more words to say something. But by the time you get to the end of the first draft, you'll have learned to say those things a bit more succinctly. So when you go back through, because I just find this in general, like when I'm writing in a new character voice. So when you go back, you might find that you shed words. Just a couple of words here and there, but it adds up as you tighten up and use like the turns of phrase that you've gotten better with as you go on. Did that climax get max to the max? No. We haven't gotten there yet. It took me a minute to understand what you were even asking, Peter. Not gonna lie. Alright, we're gonna get into sprint here. So I'm gonna go back to typing. But remember, We are getting to the climax. The climax is our goal. Wrist. just got kettle brew. Heck yeah. You're knocking them out, Blur. going to do a thing, because I think I'm very close to the end of this scene. I think I only need to write a couple of extra paragraphs here, so I might just finish it quick instead of stopping and having to find my place again at the end of the sprint. So give me like 2 extra minutes here. I have frozen time. It may not move forward until I say. Amaya, how's it going? QR business cards? Ooh, what's that for, Rai Rai? think I've decided where I'm ending this scene. Hang on. I actually need more than 11 seconds. Done. Scene done. Ha! I'm happy with that. I had a plan for the opening of this action sequence, and I wasn't sure where I wanted the first scene to end and the second scene to begin. But then it just kind of presented itself. So that is 3,914 words so far today, just shy of 4,000. We have one more sprint, and I'm going to be aiming to write hopefully around 1,700 words. So we're going to wrap up hopefully a little over 5,000 again today, because I'm trying to do a scene and a half. But I am very happy with how it's going. Very, very pleased. I have to decide whose perspective I want to write the next scene from, because I keep oscillating back and forth between what I think will work best. But I guess we might just find out when I sit down to write. Like, I might just start typing and whatever comes out of my fingers comes out. 'Cause sometimes you get to this point and the plan throws itself out the window. But who knows? I am going to take a quick break here. When I get back, we will do the hydrate and the stretch. I am hitting the save button, though. We've got a save reminder from Blur. Save your work. Don't lose your work to anything that might occur unexpectedly. Final call for redeems. If you'd like to redeem something for the next sprint, a spirit companion, a activity, a location to hang out. Please redeem those in the down below. And I will be right back. Let me just make sure yes, okay. Everything is set up properly. Yes, so if you'd like to redeem any of those, they're in the down below, and I will pause the timer until I get back. Don't forget to get up, to move around, grab yourself something to eat and or drink if you need to. Take your meds if you need to. Check that you've taken them if you have meds that you need to take, because I frequently forgot to take mine when I needed to. when I was on meds every day. And while you guys are taking care of yourself, I'll take care of myself, and I'll be back for our final sprint. let's stretch. Let's stretch. Oh my goodness. Let's stretch. Let's stretch the fingies. Very important, the fingies. I know I've mentioned this several times before, but if you guys are wondering why I do this particular stretch where I put my arm straight and I just pull my fingers gently back, this is called threading. So this makes sure that basically by doing this, I'm making sure that the nerve that is in this arm is threading properly through its cavity. It's a very good stretch. If you, like me, type a bajillion words in a day. So heck yeah, and I hydrate as promised. Chewy, hello. Chewy08, welcome in. Thank you for the follow. Let me scroll up and read chat because I missed a bunch. The word climax is starting to lose all meaning now. Listen, then I've done my job by saying it 6 billion times. Morning at work, taking lunch. Amaya, I hope lunch has been delicious. I hope work has been treating you well, because I know you work way too hard. The Bourbon channel, so I don't have to tell people how to find it on YouTube. It just takes them to the page. Nice! Victoria made me some beautiful business cards, but I'm scared of them because in my first year in radio, we had a speaker come to this class, and this guy, who was a massive wank, sidled up to this guy and handed over his business card. The speaker took it, and the guy harangued him into a conversation. Unbeknownst to the guy, the speaker slowly crumpled up the card in his hand, and then when the guy turned away, it went right into the bin, and I would be devastated if I saw that happen to me. Listen, Peter, that wouldn't happen to you because you wouldn't be a total skeeve and slide up to a guy and be a dick face and not be the kind of person that that guy wanted to interact with. So I think you'd be fine. I have business cards. I have 2 boxes of business cards that I really should find more to do with. Listen, Peter, I think you would be very respectful if you were in that situation. Also, which train? Do you care which train? Do you want to be in Domran's train? Do you want to be in my train? Do you want to be in Willow's train? These are the train options. So I will let you decide. We have a request for Spirit City. I feel like the exterior is good for this. You can see more. Still building up the spirit cash to furnish mine? Heck yeah. Yeah, I tend to sit on a lot of spirit bucks. I'm kind of saving up right now, she says, with 86,000 credits. Because I know another Halloween update is coming, and I want to be able to buy a bunch more Halloween stuff. And pickles. Heck yeah. It looks like he's gonna sleep while we do the photos. Is that okay, Sardonisms? If you want to change to something where Pickles is more awake, we can. He deserves a good nap? Heck yeah. We got some sunbeams going on here. You know, I didn't really like the cloud background at first, but it has grown on me. I do like it. It's weird, but I tend to use the city background a lot. The, like, not the Cloud City one, but, like, the City one at night, because for some reason I just find it so interesting, the idea of, like, endlessly riding a train through this, an empty train through the city at night. In real life, it would suck. I lived in Toronto, I rode subways at night, but the way that it's, like, laid out in the game, it's just super relaxing. When you were a younger being where you lived, did you ever have Howard Stern on the radio? I don't know. Like, when I was young, I don't really know, like, who the radio announcer I was listening to was. I fell into a pre-Sirius XM Stern hole earlier, and it was so much funnier because he was restrained and couldn't say what he wanted. The second someone knows they can say fuck, it loses the appeal, so since Sirius, I'm not a fan, but I enjoyed some of it earlier. I genuinely don't know. I listened to a lot of radio when I was younger. I do know that the guy that you guys will never have heard of this guy, because he was local to our town. But when I was a teen and I listened to the local radio station, the guy who I really liked was called Tom Morgan. He was, like, my favorite radio DJ. And when I was sick from school, the thing that I liked to do was call into Tom Morgan's radio show and request a song. I probably sound so old saying that. Yeah, when I was in middle school and I stayed home from school sick, the thing that I would do was call the local radio station and request a song to make me feel better. Trains, light rails at night are scary for sure. I took the light rail from my side of town, the end of the light rail, to a friend's side of town, the other end of light rail, and coming back after 9 p.m. was kind of sketch. Yeah, I used to have, like, an hour and a half long commute. And in those winter months when I was on the train in the dark. Now, luckily it was rush hour, so there was, like, 50 billion other people. But I wouldn't want to be alone on a train in the dark in the real world, for sure. Did you ever get to talk to Tom? I do think I do remember talking to him on the phone once or twice. I had, a kid crush on him. Had no idea what he looked like. Only knew his voice. That Rubik took a month to solve the first Rubik's Cube. Oh. He wasn't even sure it was solvable. Interesting. No, we're just talking about radio experiences. That's fine. The train was mostly empty and people got on smelling like alcohol. Yeah. Ooh, that sucks. I was lucky in that most of the time when I wasn't doing the commute, so either I was doing, like, the regular commute, so there was a bunch of people around because it was rush hour, or I usually had Ghost with me. So I didn't really have to ride the subway, like, alone without it being like, okay, there's, like, 50 million other people doing this because it's the end of the workday. I used to listen to the radio when I was a kid, and many, many years later I found out my lecturer used to work for the station I used to listen to, so it's entirely probable I listened to him. That would be super cool. My brother-in-law had a similar-ish experience where when he went to grad school, because he went to grad school for animation, a lot of his animation teachers were people who had worked on cartoons that he watched when he was a kid, which was really cool. He really enjoyed that. I didn't know that the maker of the Rubik's Cube wasn't actually sure it could be solved when he first made it. That blows my mind. Here's a puzzle. It may be impossible. Now, Peter, have you ever considered doing, like, a radio show on Twitch? Do you do a radio show? Do you do it on Twitch, or do you, like, pre-record it? Bit of trivia I learned from a folded card in a Rubik's Cube. That's super cool. It's so interesting to me to look back on history, like, from the retrospective of we know how things work. This is a bit of a long one, so I'm actually going to pause the timer so I don't run out the rest of the time saying this. But I watched a show on Disney Plus called The Astronaut Wives Club, and I know I've talked about it before. It was such a good show. And it mostly centered around the wives of the original Gemini 7 astronauts. I think it was 7. I think there was 7 of them. But anyway, the original Gemini astronauts. And it goes right up through the Apollo program, like the early Apollo program. And so one of the things that I found really interesting, because then, of course, I looked into this later, was that no one was actually sure what would happen when we first sent a spacecraft to the far side of the moon. The, mathematics checked out for gravity functions the same way, but there were genuinely people who were like, it's entirely possible that as soon as the spacecraft gets to the far side of the moon, it will become, like, detached from gravity and just float out into nothing. And one of the wives of one of the guys who was on that mission, like, flipped the hell out and wrote his obituary while he was on the far side of the moon. But he was just kind of like, because she was like, what happens if that happens? And he was like, well, we'll just suffocate. Like, totally nonplussed about it. But it's like, we launched a bunch of guys into space with computers that were less powerful than this computer that I hold in my hand is more powerful than the computer that sent the astronauts to the moon. My smartphone, is more powerful than the computer that sent the astronauts to the moon. And we didn't actually know what would happen, and that blows my freaking mind, right? To be truthful, we're lucky we even have a light rail, so I'm grateful for it, especially if I have to go downtown, because driving downtown gives me so much anxiety. Yes. In the States, I'm not sure where you live, Maya. I'm not trying to assume where you live, but in the States, it seems like there's not as many mass transit systems as there are elsewhere. Like, it seems like people in the States are, like, against having transit systems? ? Like, I've lived in so many cities where we would just not... When we were in England, we could go anywhere by train, and we would not have been able to get around without it. Back in the day, I used to do it live at the station. Then the pandemic happened and I pre-recorded, and then I got shit canned, so I never went back to the station. I'd be curious to try doing a Twitch version, but I'm very aware of DMCA. I mean, the music that you played, you'd have to be careful about. But isn't the most important thing, like, the parts where you're talking? Like, the in-between parts? The broadcast parts? Isn't that, like, the most important part? You could totally do that on Twitch. I guess maybe that would be considered podcasting now, but... I think my favorite thing I learned recently is that the man who invented the rumble strips on the side of the highway is Young Gravy's father. Did I say... I probably said that horribly wrong. Nobody will launch me in a rocket. We aren't, but states and the federal government won't build them because they lose money. It's just so... It's so hard sometimes to live in a place where you can't get around because there's no, like, transit. Arizona has a dearth of mass transit. Arizona is the 6th largest state. Good luck finding me. Because we have a lot of older retired individuals who think they shouldn't pay for transit for the people that let them enjoy their times at restaurant, shopping, etc. to get work if they can't afford a car. But driving in a city wastes so much time. When we were in England, there's actually a bylaw in London. Maybe it's not a bylaw, it might be a law, but there's like a law in England that you essentially, in London, you can't drive downtown unless you have a special permit. And they do that because they issue that permit to, like, truck drivers and, like, specific groups of people who work downtown. So otherwise you have to take transit. And it's just, they have to do that because London is a city of something like, I think, 8 to 10 million people. And it was originally built at a time when we used horse and buggies. The roads are tiny, the traffic's horrible. You can't get anywhere. If everybody's driving, you can't get anywhere. Toronto is, I think, about 2/3 the size of London, maybe. It might be less than that. And you can't get anywhere at midday rush hour. You can't if you're driving. You just will not go anywhere. You will sit for an hour in traffic. Driving in a city is miserable. Everybody should be behind the idea of transit, because otherwise you're just wasting your time idling away in a car going nowhere. Sorry, soapbox, but I have lived in enough big places that I'm like, driving in a city is so not worth it. As a Brit, I fear London and avoid it like the plague. We enjoyed our time in London, but I wouldn't want to drive there. Flutter? 47 months. Have I been streaming for that long? Holy shit. Thank you so much, Flutter. Hope you are having a good day. Of course, we're talking about driving, and Flutter shows up. Flutter loves to drive. The problem is that as cities have grown, the train networks haven't, and now they're massively built up on either side, so we can't get more trains or longer trains. In England, I totally believe that that's a problem. But yeah, driving in some cities is just absolutely bonkers. I've never lived on the west, like on a west coast, in a west coast city, but we used to drive through Seattle, and it was madness if you were driving through the city at rush hour. They have like tunnels that go under the city, they've got the ferry, and it's just crazy. I don't even know how people keep track of what the options of driving in that city are, let alone navigate to work. Cork, Ireland is terrible for driving. I'd believe it. When and if I ever go to London, it's always via coach or train. Yeah, we always took the train in as well. There's so many waterways, and they make one-ways. Yeah. Any place, though, in England and Europe, like, because everything was designed around a horse and buggy. Cars didn't come until much later. So unless you have a city where they've basically redesigned the core of the city, traffic is going to be miserable because cars were not what they had in mind when those roads were made. So, and that's also, I think, why roundabouts are more common in England and Europe, is because they were places where, like, horse carts would be directed. Waterways are mostly used for leisure now. They used to move so many things by the canals, but now it's mostly just tourists who take the canal boats. I remember I'm gonna start this last sprint here in a second, but we watched a show with, I think it was it Tony Robinson, the host of Time Team. He did another show called, I think, Walking with History or something like that, and he basically went on walking tours of the UK. And it was amazing, and he did one about the canals, and he talked about how it used to be a major form of transit, and that there were people who spent their whole lives running cargo on the canals, and now they just have these big, like, houseboats for, like, the 5 tourists that want to go down the canal. It was fascinating. It was super fascinating. So, I don't know where you can watch that show. I think we watched it on Prime, but it was really fascinating. I'm gonna let the time go so that we can do the final sprint. Update on this book: the couple has been reunited. Main love interest is being super possessive, but main character is not against it, which means I'm all for it. They're not together yet. Kiss! Get to the kissing. We just caught up on the Dragon Prince, and there are 2 characters that I ship like hardcore now. And if they don't end up kissing, I will riot. Just kiss the main character's fingertips. That's adorable. I'm sure some of those words were good, but you know what? Some days you take a sentence, you put a sentence in, you take it out, you put something else in. You'll get there. It's gonna happen. You know what, Mai? If you're struggling between first and third person, what I'm gonna suggest is take a scene that you're really excited about, or like part of the scene that you're really excited about, write it in first person and write it in third person. Just treat each of it as like, that's the final one that I'm gonna write, is that one. And just the same exact scene, first person, third person, and compare the two. And whichever feels the best to you, go with that one. That's what I would say. Test it out. Test it in one, and make sure it's a scene that like you're kind of excited about, or even just a test scene, like something that won't be in the novel but that you're excited to try out. And whichever one feels the best, go with that one, because that'll take some of the pressure off of it, right? You give them both equal standing, you give them both their fair shot, and whichever one you keep, you have that work done already, right? I have done that before. I have written scenes from two different perspectives to decide which one I actually want to keep. In case you're like, hey, you can't alternate first and third person, you totally can. I've read books like that that worked perfectly fine. As long as it's consistent, as long as the POV character that is first person always stays in first person, or as soon as like the reason, like if you're writing in first person while she's in the mirror, and then once she gets out of the mirror it switches to third person, even that makes logical sense. As long as you can make it make logical sense in the mind of the reader, you can do whatever. So it's 100% an option. I hit a perfect stopping point. I'm midway through this battle scene. 1,765 words into the second scene for the day, which is going to bring our total. Let's see, what's the total that I've written so far today? Let's see. 5,679. Perfect. Perfect. I'm so happy with this. Definitely think I'll be able to finish this scene. Sometimes it's interesting how you plan out a scene and it just takes you longer to do the things than you expected, but also it just ends up working better that way. Chef's kiss. I'm really happy with how this action sequence is going. And what is also making me really happy is I definitely had a way of writing action scenes in the Aravalia Chronicles. There was definitely types of combat that came up a lot. Like I talked about my character's fighting styles before. So there were definitely things that tended to be in those particular scenes quite often because it was based on the way those characters fought. And combat in this series feels quite different. It's a little bit more cinematic because of how it's crafted and what's happening, but it makes it feel more unique and different, which is refreshing. It's nice that not every action sequence feels exactly the same. Because I know when I watch action movies, one of my big complaints is always all of the scenes are the same. So it's nice to have something that feels a little bit different. And definitely the purpose of the combat in this book is quite different. Peter, I'm proud of you, but thank you. Thank you for having confidence in me. Let's see what I missed in the chat. There's a level of hard and soft, like with magic systems, for made-up video games and esports novels. Interesting. I mean, I wrote about basically the whole second half of the last chapter I wrote, but done is better than perfect. Hey, sometimes it gots to go. Start off with the adventurers returning to the Gold Dragon with a mirror of life trapping. When it's that many words, I usually cut and paste it into excerpts document and maybe come back to them. Yes, I also keep archived copies of all my drafts so that if I ever hugely change anything, I do have the original way, and I have had to go back into older documents and restore things I cut in the past after beta passes. So it's always a good idea to keep everything just in case. I've done the thing where I deleted everything and not backed it up and hated myself. Oh no, I also have lost some stuff. Some stuff that I tried to save and it just got lost. So I know that feeling. The video I'm editing, I forgot how much the party clowned on the BBEG. It's making me laugh so much. Nice! Had two brief sequences in the main love interest POV when I needed it, even though this book is strictly in MC's POV. Exactly. As long as you can, as long as, like, the reader doesn't read it and go, like, wait, that was really weird, it's fine. She's only in the mirror for like the first 2 chapters, the prologue, then when the mirror is broken to free her. Oh, interesting. There's a hydrate snuck in there. Sorry, Pie, I missed that one when it popped up, but I got it now. Braille's story is a spin-off from Shadows of Krillin and follows more of the newbie to hero pattern of the coming-of-age fantasy novels, whereas Shadows of Krillin is basically a bunch of level 20 already established heroes taking down a massive council of BBEGs. Braille is in that story. I'm saying her name horribly wrong, I'm sure, but There's things that happen to her outside of it that I don't think would fit nicely. Oh, interesting. I too have spin-off stories. My brain is finding excuses not to write. You know what? It's okay if you're having a day where you just plan stuff out or like that. Writing adjacent stuff is writing too. If you're planning something out, or if you're reorganizing how the story is going to be presented, or if you're changing the POV for a couple of scenes, that all counts. That's all writing. It all counts as work. Pickles did have a good nap. I wrote 658 words that sprint, but I wasn't fully committing. I was working things through, and it was a bit of a fit and start. Sometimes it be like that, Peter. It's still good. 658 words is a solid amount of words, especially if you had to feel your way through them. Sometimes it's just gotta go on the page so I can write something else. Fair. I've definitely... There's a story on my blog. I wonder if I can find it. I don't know if I remember what it was called. It was very early in my writing of prompts. I might even actually be able to... Hold, please. I might even be able to find it faster if I go look at this. Sort by name. If I can get my website to load, it seems to be having a moment. I woke up one Saturday morning from like just like a half dream sort of thing, and I had this scene in my head and I had to write it down. This doesn't happen to me very often, but just every now and then I get something that comes to me so strong that I have to sit down and write it right away. And I have this short on my blog called Only Human. And this was something that I woke up on a Saturday morning and this short was in my head and I just sat down and instantly like spilled it out. And it's still one of my favorites. I wrote this in 2016. I published it in 2016, so I might have written it in 2015. It's pretty old now. But for anyone who's curious, the prompt was Only Human, and I sort of woke up with this semi-horror scene in my head. It's one of the shorter ones on my blog, but it was pretty interesting. Sometimes stuff does just push its way out. Don't forget, we need those drafts for the Megan Cutler Memorial Museum. I save everything, Peter. I save everything. Even through hard drive crashes, I've mostly managed to save everything. Her full name is Gabrielle. I just like Brielle better than Gabby. It's a cool name. It's a very fantasy-sounding name. So yeah, if anyone is curious about this weird, wild scene that I just woke up one morning and had to write, there you go. That is it. We are going to look for somebody that we can raid. I will say I probably won't be streaming next week, sadly. I've been trying to fit at least one stream into my icky weeks. Because I don't like taking random weeks off streaming, but I'm kind of expecting cramps to happen on Wednesday, which makes it very difficult to stream because the 2 days on either side of that are likely to be really icky. So all of my stream days are basically icky. So next week I might not be around. I do apologize for that. Keep an eye on the Discord. If I feel up to streaming, I'll definitely post something in there. But probably I will be back the week of October 6th. So if you don't see me next week, don't panic. That's why. What about the Clurb? The Clurb will be happening this Saturday, 7:30 p.m. PST over on It's Swift's channel. And theoretically next week, too. It's the middle of the week that I expect to be affected, unfortunately. Might not be streams next week, and I'm very, very sorry, but sometimes it do happen that we gotta take care of ourselves first and foremost, and I do try to practice what I preach. Hopefully... hopefully it will pass quickly and I'll be around again, but just in case. Thank you for hanging out. I'm so glad if we could help even in just some small way, because it's really tough sometimes to find the best way to do something with your work. And if you don't hear other people talking about similar struggles, then how do you know that you're not the only one experiencing that? Sardinisms, thank you for hanging out. Blur, I hope you have enjoyed your time with Lo-Fi Sessions. It's a great little productivity management app. It's fun when I can stay all stream. Hell yeah! Well, and if you tend to typically be off on Thursdays, I mean, it's one of my days. I'm always here, with the possible exception of next week. So yeah, I think we're gonna head over to Cat's Chaos Cafe and say hello there, because I'm trying to spread the raids around a little bit. Thank you so much for hanging out, you guys. I know I say it every stream, but you guys are amazing. I appreciate the heck out of you. Thank you for being here with me while I work on the climax of my novel. It's been very climactic. Really feeling good about this climax that we've put together here today. That Twitch didn't want to have happen, but you know what? Only climaxed anyway. Have fun blurping that. I'll see you guys all again very soon, and until then, I'll be on the Discord. Please take care of yourselves. Remember to eat, to sleep, to drink, to get up and move around from time to time, to take your meds. And just also remember that you're awesome. And you're a valued member of this community, and we love you to bits, and we're so happy to have you. I certainly feel blessed to know and hang out with each and every one of you, and I will see you all again as soon as I don't feel like death warned over. I don't today, but I will soon. And after that, I'll see you again. Take care, my friends.
Not all of them.